And the other really interesting thing is that Netflix tells us Christmas is their biggest day of consumption as well, right? So there's a learning that you kind of get through the day and people are off and you're going to be in front of your screen in one way or the other. So that unique opportunity of people who may or may not come to the game otherwise here in the US, but also, like you said, globally, worldwide, it's one platform. Obviously, it's customized to the country you're in, but it is a unique opportunity where normally
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Wisdom Wednesday, presented, of course, by DraftKings. How about, I think for the second year in a row, Onnie Bose, the NFL VP of Broadcasting, is coming on to give us the lowdown on everything that's new with consuming the NFL this year on television. Love getting that little precursor to the season with it kicking off tomorrow night. We will, of course, have Greg Cosell tomorrow to preview the Thursday night game, the Friday night game, some of the biggest Sunday games, the Monday night game. Everything's happening. This is amazing. You should all listen or watch youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL, the College Draft or Even Money podcast, right? College Draft, awesome for college football and betting on college football. Even Money is, I think, like one of the most popular, if not the most popular NFL betting podcasts out there. Even if you're not into betting, I think you just appreciate a different way to view these games, even if you've never made a wager in your life. Love those of you that spread the word via social media. I try to give out a winner every week, someone that engages with @Ross Tucker NFL or @Ross Tucker Pod. Then you've got the sponsor confirmation email winner. Love when you guys take advantage of any of our sponsors, West Shore Home, Future Fans. Absolutely awesome. Game Time app is amazing. Maybe you guys can get tickets to the Bills-Cardinals game I'll be at Sunday. And then the YouTube shout out, youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. I'll do a cameo style video for you. Maybe I'll even be having a little Smirnoff as I do it. It's the perfect vodka for crafting delicious cocktails that are easy to make and versatile for any and all fans over 21. What I love about Smirnoff, they know a good partner. They're the world's #1 vodka. They're an official vodka partner in the NFL. They're an official vodka partner of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
So I feel like we sort of have a rhythm now when it comes to talking with the vice presidents of broadcasting with the NFL. It seems like right after the schedule comes out, we talk to Michael North about all the different scheduling quirks and everything going on around the NFL. And then when we get to week one, we bring on my guy, Onnie Bose, who's the NFL VP of Broadcasting. Really just, as much as anything, Onnie, it's kind of a primer from a NFL fan consumption standpoint. I want to make sure that my listeners, the people checking us out on YouTube and everywhere else, that they know what's new this year. Because it's funny, I was saying to Jack, my producer, Onnie, when I was a player, 2001, 2008, I don't really remember anything new. I mean, there wasn't Thursday night football. You know, there was a Fox, there was a Monday night game on whatever network it was on. There was a Sunday night game, and obviously there was the rest of the ones and the fours. Now there's a lot new, and there's not just a lot new. It feels like there's a couple new elements every year with what you guys are doing from a scheduling and broadcasting standpoint.
Yeah, first of all, Ross, it's great to be with you. I think, Mike talking in May, that everybody's excited about the schedule release, but now here we are. It's post Labor Day. Football starts in 2 days. So it's exciting to be talking about it. And, your point is a great one that, our focus really is on, what is new? What are we going to do differently? The goal is always it's being fan friendly. Let's get the best games into windows that fans can watch. And jumping into this year, what's new, unique about this year? There's a couple new days of the week, right? We're going to play on a Friday. I don't think we've done that in something like 50 years. We're going to play on a Wednesday. Also, really kind of unheard of. And a lot of that's just driven by the way the world is evolving, right? Friday night, we're playing in Brazil. I'm heading down there tomorrow night, so should be pretty excited. The Packers and the Eagles. That game's on Peacock. We saw, what Peacock did last year in that playoff game, the Dolphins at the Chiefs, and big viewership numbers. We're excited to see what, kind of the attention and the uniqueness of playing kickoff Thursday in Kansas City and a Friday night in Brazil, back-to-back football and a huge weekend with the regular Sunday and the Monday windows. And then, playing on Christmas, something that we've really developed over the last few years. We're seeing it a little bit like Thanksgiving. It's a day that people are together with their families, and you got great viewership. We had huge games last year, and then all of a sudden Netflix comes in and then wants to be a part of that and take two really big games globally. So, we're excited. It's different. It's not what we're used to, but I think it should be great for the fans.
Okay, so let's start with the Friday night game, Packers and Eagles, Peacock. Two things on that, Onnie. First of all, I always thought that you guys weren't allowed to play on Fridays and Saturdays because of the antitrust. And secondly, I'm from Eastern Pennsylvania. High school football is very important to me, and
Yep.
I know it's very important in the NFL, quite frankly, right?
Yeah. 100.
So that had to be an interesting conversation because obviously the high school, those guys become college players and they become NFL players. So you need high school to kind of be the lifeblood of professional football. Walk me through that decision to have a game on Friday and why you're able to have it on Friday.
Yeah, it's a great one, Ross, and 100%. High school, college football, very important to us, and we're very conscious of that Sports Broadcasting Act, which is why we don't play on Saturdays till later in the year into December. But there are quirks to that, and one of the quirks is that rule really goes into effect on the second Friday of September. So this year, with Labor Day yesterday and in early September, this Friday night is the first Friday of September. It happens to fall this year. It happens to fall next year. And so we have this opportunity. It's something we hadn't explored in the past. But as you said, as we're trying new things, we have this opportunity to do it. It kind of fits in. It's a long trip down to Brazil for the Packers and the Eagles, and we can play it in week one on a Friday night. They get a little bit of extra time coming back to week two. So that opportunity was there where we're not going up against, the bulk and the rule of the Friday night lights in high school football. And we're excited to see what it can do.
Got it. And then the Christmas games, which are, I mean, I've seen the ratings. It's absolutely wild what the ratings are like. And I know that was initially, maybe it was a year ago or a couple years ago, there was a thought that you guys wouldn't ever play on a Wednesday. But you kind of figured it out. You kind of figured out how to pull it off.
Yeah, one thing I've learned in being at the league for going on 19 years now, never say never. I think, if you thought there was something, probably playing on a Wednesday would be tough. But look, I think part of it is go back to 2020 and the COVID year, and we learned that we can be pretty resilient and flexible in a lot of things. I think that informs our ethos. And getting to a Wednesday game was challenging, but if you do the math, you can play Sunday to Thursday. Teams do it regularly. So what's the shift? Play Saturday to Wednesday. We did a lot of work on that. You had to find four teams that could be playing each other in some combination. We called it our Christmas round robin. And so because of that, you've got, we had to kind of focus on a division, and they matched up another division. And we got to a place where, it's a couple teams from the AFC North. It's the Texans and the Chiefs, desirable combinations where Pitt, Baltimore, KC, Houston on Saturday of week 16, and you come back with KC at Pittsburgh and Baltimore at Houston on Christmas. Felt really exciting. Four pretty big games. You got them on Fox and NBC on the Saturday. And then, as we talked about, a kind of a global doubleheader on Netflix for their first foray into live sports. So, like I said, probably didn't expect to have games on Netflix this year. Didn't necessarily expect to be playing on Wednesday, but cool opportunity for us.
So it's notable to me, Ani, that both times you've mentioned Netflix, you have said globally.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was you or other people at the league office I've talked with. I just didn't realize how big Netflix is internationally. and how huge of an opportunity this is for the NFL to get more exposure internationally because of how many Netflix subscribers there are. Can you talk to my audience a little bit? I mean, I don't remember whoever told it to me or exactly what they said, but I remember them saying that something like there's almost more subscribers internationally than there are nationally.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers exactly too, Ross, but I think that's the scale. And the other really interesting thing is that Netflix tells us Christmas is their biggest day of consumption as well, right? So there's a learning that you kind of get through the day and people are off and you're gonna be in front of your screen in one way or the other. So that unique opportunity of people who may or may not come to the game otherwise here in the US, but also, like you said, globally, worldwide, it's one platform. Obviously, it's customized to the country you're in, but it is a unique opportunity where normally, those games are on CBS, Fox, NBC, who have you, they have the US rights. We have partners around the world. This was a unique one where, playing on Christmas, playing on a Wednesday. It was a unique opportunity to really test something where, I don't think it's 100%, but it's worldwide kind of that opportunity. I think it'll be fun to watch and to see what we learn from that and see who engages with that in what countries.
That is so cool because that you can really tell, right? Like you can tell how many subscribers in each country tuned into the game, right? Like that is so valuable because the broadcast. I mean, look, I love broadcast television. I do games for CBS. I love it. Everybody gets it. You don't have to pay. Like I get it, but you don't get that level of information, right? That granularity.
Yeah, look, it's a whole different area, right? These companies are, Netflix, obviously, they are in, distribution of content, but, our partners in Amazon and Google with Sunday Ticket and YouTube, they do all sorts of stuff that at a different level. It's a new frontier for us where we continue to learn. You said it, and this is, it's your bread and butter too. Broadcast television is still the spine of what we do, and those games and the core of that is crucially important to us, but we want to continue to evolve, right? Our mantra, I said it earlier, right? Let's go where our fans are. Let's make sure our fans can see our games where they are. So, I personally, the best viewing experience is in front of a giant TV. But, if you're on the road and on the go and you want to watch it on your phone, we'll figure out how to do that as well.
You know, again this year, Ani, you guys are also doing several sort of, I don't know if you call them Monday Night Football double headers or side by sides. I know I'm already scheduled to call a couple of those on the radio side for Westwood One. Really looking forward to that. But I'm curious about the rationale and why there's two games running concurrently. I think most people, Ani, can conceptualize the value of the standalone game. Everybody's watching one game, ratings, all of that stuff. I think people are curious as to why you guys, or I guess Disney with ABC and ESPN, like to have that overlap for so much of those games. Can you explain?
Yeah, look, it's a unique opportunity. It came up with, kind of try to explore different ways. Let's get some exclusive games on the ABC in addition to what we do regularly with a handful of games that are simulcast between ABC and ESPN. And we've been creative with it the last few years. We've played around with kick times and matchups and things like that. And I think one of the things we learned is that for a handful of nights, not necessarily not something that I don't think we'd want to do every Monday night, but for a couple, 2, 3 nights a year, you can have a couple games on. You have the power of kind of one company doing two games on two networks, and you can get that a little bit of a whip around experience. You may be focused on a single game, but as a viewer, if you're not invested in one of those four teams, okay, cool. I can kind of pick and choose, and whichever game is a little more compelling or more interesting to me, or I have players on my fantasy team. And at the same time, I can stay updated on the other one. And what we learned is that over kind of the overlapping period, our peak viewership and our average viewership is higher than kind of the average Monday night game. And we've learned let's stagger these starts a little bit, but not too much, so that when one game goes to halftime, there's live football and you have an opportunity to watch the other game. We've definitely seen that behavior. So the one thing we did this year was we kind of tightened up the gap between the games and really kind of, optimize it. Let's play traditionally 8 o'clock Eastern. That's the ABC game. And then we have a couple scenarios where ESPN starts at 7:30. We got one scenario with a later game where they start at, I think it's 8:30. And just, it's unique, it's different, it's a handful of games, and look, we're not putting the biggest games on the Monday night schedule there, but for that one night, hey, there's two interesting games, and I have the chance to flip around.
And I guess, Ani, as you and I are talking about this and recording this right now, there's some type of dispute. I don't like follow stuff like this that closely. I don't have direct TV, so I don't really care that much. But I'm sure some of my listeners do. There's a dispute right now between Disney and direct TV. What could that mean, or what does that mean for Monday night games right now?
Yeah, look, I appreciate kind of the question and the point of view. It is something that we're aware of. Ultimately, it's just something for the two parties to work out, amongst themselves. And we know we got Monday night coming up in a handful of days.
Got it. Okay. What about YouTube? Because everybody that I've talked to, Ani, raving about the YouTube NFL consumption experience, whether it's the Sunday ticket or their ability to customize the games they watch. I had no idea, by the way, because I'm always working. I went to my buddy's house last year. I had no idea you could have two games on, like your whole screen could be just two games, and then you could switch the volume for which game you want to. It is amazing.
Yeah.
And then I guess this year you can pick you can like customize your game. I don't know how much you know about that.
Yeah, I know a little bit about it, and it's a this is the smile on your face says it. It's the excitement we have on working with partners like YouTube and Google, and the chance to innovate and do everything else. DirecTV was a great Sunday ticket partner for 25 plus years, but the linear satellite experience, they gave you a quad box, they gave you an 8 box, and it was great. And my kids know that that's how I just ended up watching games because I'm insane like that. But even on DirecTV on the iPad app, you did have the chance to kind of customize and slide some games in and things like that of the games available to you on Sunday Ticket. So coming into that experience on YouTube TV, it's going to be on your giant screen. It's incredibly exciting. Last year, the innovation was they had kind of preset kind of quad boxes, and one of those could include red zone if you wanted, which was a whole different experience. So you can kind of flip the audio around and watch the three games. And Ross, you know this. Even though you're working on Sundays, you're around. Our fans love our game. The beauty of our game is you may have your team, and we're in your area. The Eagles may be your team, but people care about the other games, and now the ability to do that. And if you're a Sunday Ticket subscriber and the games that are within Sunday Ticket, and hey, these are the four I care about and I want to put them into one, and I assume, I haven't seen this specifically, but I want red zone as one of them. That's just continued innovation. I think I love it as a fan, and as somebody who's working on Sundays like you, but I'm usually at home and trying to watch them all. I love the idea of just being able to pick the ones I want and flip around the audio. It should be exciting.
The other thing, Ani, well, it's going to be amazing. The other thing is, and I haven't had a chance to do the demo yet, but I want to, is this NFL Pro that I've seen buddies of mine, Mike Golick Jr. and others are really excited about the NFL Pro as well that fans can have access to. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, NFL Pro it's part of our NFL Plus product, which is really kind of the NFL's version of kind of going direct to consumer. And another way we try to get the content to our fans, right? So, we have a ton of content that we do, legendary stuff from NFL Films, things out of LA and NFL media. You package that together, it's an opportunity for our fans to get that. It also bundles in, kind of what's available to you. So you're over the air, kind of what you would be getting locally is part of that. And Pro goes to the next level. It goes to what we were just talking about. Our fans are so into our game. This because you played, because you're analyzed, right? All 22 footage is this kind of, it used to be this mythical thing that was kind of, you had to keep it a secret and you had to go to the facility to watch if you were prepping for a game. Realize that there's an incredible demand. Our fans love to break down film on their own, listen to you and Greg talk about it, Greg Cosell, things like that. But part of Pro, you can have access to that. You can kind of, if that's something you value, you can do that. Next gen stats is something that, you see on TV where we analyze, we'll put out a stat, or Tony Romo will talk about something, advanced stats from player tracking. there's a whole slate of data in there that you could really dig into and nerd out on. So it's a, again, an evolving world where there's all this data out there, and now we have a way to get it to our fans.
It is unbelievable. I mean, I was already fired up, Onnie, but you just got me even more fired up
It's great.
during this interview. It's a lot. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of different ways to consume the NFL. That is for sure. I'll be curious to getting some feedback throughout the season from some listeners just about how they go about it, because there's a million different iterations now at this point. He is the man. I hopefully we can do this every year, because I think it's helpful. Certainly for me. If it's helpful for me, it's probably helpful for the listeners as well. He's Onnie Bose, the NFL VP of Broadcasting. Thanks so much for the time again this year, Onnie. I really appreciate it.
You got it, Ross. Always great to be on with you, and hope you have a great season.
Shout out to my new best friend, Robert Price in Annandale, Virginia. You know why? Robert Price got a box from Future Fans, and he used the code Ross to get $5 off, which is amazing. These guys came on the show almost a month ago now. At this point, you know how passionate I am about growing the sport of football. It's hard. It's hard for little kids to understand football. This is by far the best way for them I've ever seen. Even me as a former player trying to explain to them, not as good as the storybook-led activities with the game. They love learning the downs and throwing the beanbags. It's incredible. What are you waiting for? It's week 1. Your kid could have football down in a week or two. No joke, the way Future Fans teaches is genius. You won't be disappointed. Go to futurefans.com to learn more. Use the code Ross. Unlock a lifetime of memories with a kid in your life starting now. Speaking of starting now, tomorrow night, Jack, it is on Thursday night, Danny's South, Orchard Park. Hope as many of you as possible, Jan and Steven Soroka and all my Western New York peeps, can be there drinking some Labatt Blue Lights with me and living life to the power of we. I like that. Maybe that should be the line. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York.
Tuck's Takes.
All right, Ross, we got some more contract extensions. 49ers tackle Trent Williams. He gets $48 million guaranteed on a new 3-year deal, while Steelers, their defensive lineman Cam Hayward, he gets $16 million guaranteed, including a $15 million signing bonus as part of a new 3-year, $45 million pact. Also, Jets cornerback Michael Carter becomes the highest paid slot cornerback with a 3-year, $30.75 million deal, including $19 million in guarantees.
Well, slot corner is a very important position, so kudos to Michael and kudos to the Jets for securing a guy at a really important spot, especially on the money down, third down. Cam Hayward contract is interesting. He was already scheduled to make $16 million this year, and so he was going to be on the opening day roster, so that was going to be guaranteed. So he didn't really get any more guaranteed money. He just tacked on 2 more years at $29 million. Now he got a $15 million signing bonus, so there'd be some dead cap if they cut him after this year, but it doesn't prevent the Steelers from moving on from Cam after this year if they want to. And the Trent Williams deal was always going to get done. The Niners are not dummies, neither is Trent Williams. They know that they need him, and they do.
Meanwhile, the Patriots, they're going to pay defensive lineman Christian Barmore, even though they don't have him since he is on the NFI list.
Well, they don't have to because he's on the NFI list. All right, so I'm going to make this kind of cracked me up yesterday. I'm going to make this my Labatt take, presented by Labatt Blue Light, the pristine Canadian Pilsner. Enjoy your beers together so you can live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York. I feel like stuff like this only happens in the NFL. It cracks me up. There's like multiple reports yesterday. The Patriots are still going to pay Christian Barmore's salary, even though they don't have to because he's on NFI. Yeah, the guy has blood clots. He's arguably your best player. And yet somebody wanted to make it clear to the insiders that post this stuff on social media, hey, we're going to pay his salary even though we don't have to. I mean, so gregarious of you. It's not, by the way, it's not a Patriots thing. This is like an NFL thing. It just cracks me up. Oh, you're still going to pay your best player even though he has blood clots while he's playing for you? Hilarious.
Some other transactions include the Panthers. They cut edge rusher Clavon Chizon, and the Chiefs, they put Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the NFI list, meaning he is out at least the first 4 weeks of the season.
Right. I don't even know what happened to Edwards-Helaire, but it makes them going after and getting Samaje Perine make even more sense to make sure they had another, back, and in particular, third down back. Chason, I said this on social media yesterday, Jack, at Ross Tucker, NFL. If you're on a roster after Tuesday at 4 p.m., Jack, in the NFL as a player, you get paid for that week. So that's why most of the transactions are done by Tuesday at 4 p.m. They don't want to have to pay guys if they're not going to be with the team that weekend. So not a good week, not a good day for Chason. Today's a good day to listen to the Fantasy Feast podcast with a new co-host, John Daigle. He's awesome. I think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network on Samsung TV Plus, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. Huge fan of making sure that the people in your life that you love know it. So go ahead, get them a new story all about them. Cover story they deserve. myfrontpagestory.com. Automatic signed autograph from me if you do. Backofficescheduler.com, humanheadnyc.com, Sporticulture, and Pizza Boy Brewing. I'll be there Monday eating, I like the ham pizza, and I'll have several daddy sodas as well. Thursday night, Monday night, got a nice little life going.